Good afternoon, and thank you for all being here today. It's truly an honor to stand before you again to share my third State of the City address. My, how time flies. Each year, this moment gives us a chance to pause, reflect, and take stock, not just of what we have accomplished, but also of how we are living up to the expectations our residents place in their city government and the shared vision we hold for Leawood's future. When I first put my name forward to serve as your mayor, I made a few clear commitments. I committed to building stronger, more consistent connections with neighborhoods across Leawood so City Hall feels closer to the people we serve. After nearly 2 decades on the Planning Commission watching our city evolve, I pledged to modernize our land use plan and development code to reflect the Leawood of today and to guide reinvestment that preserves the character that makes our community special. I also promised to protect and strengthen the exceptional level of municipal services that have long defined how this city serves its residents. I'm proud to say those commitments were not just words spoken on a campaign trail. They became work, they became action, and now they are becoming results our community can see, feel, and experience in everyday life. Before I move into the milestones and accomplishments of 2025, I want to pause to recognize 2 council members who concluded their service to our community this past year, Deborah Filla and Chuck Sipple. Together, they dedicated a combined 34 years to serving our community, and they exemplified what it means to lead with care, thoughtfulness, and commitment. And I'm pleased to say that their service to Leawood is continuing, with Deb agreeing to serve on the Stormwater Management Committee and Chuck serving on the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Iron Horse Advisory Board. We're grateful for their years of leadership, guidance, and dedication. Deb, Chuck, please stand. I also want to take a moment to recognize our City Council, who puts in countless hours serving you and our city, and to welcome our 2 newly elected members, Matt Pepis and Rachel Rubin. Matt, Rachel, welcome to the City Council. Representing Ward 1 are Alan Sunkel and, as I mentioned, newly elected Councilman Matt Pepis. From Ward 2, Sherry Gayed and Mary Larson. Ward 3 is represented by Lisa Harrison and newly elected council member Rachel Rubin. And from Ward 4, Julie Kane and Dr. Stephen Castor. All work every day to make this a better place for us to live and work. Please join me in thanking them for their leadership and service. I would be remiss as well if I didn't acknowledge our City Administrator, Diane Stoddard, and our Assistant City Administrator, Stephen Powell. Stephen's under the weather today, but he was careful to be sure and drop the buntinis by, so even when he was feeling terrible, he made sure you all had your desserts. But they do an amazing job, and as well, I want to ask, along with Diane, the members of our senior management team to please rise and be recognized. Don't be bashful. David Lay, stand up. Travis, excellent. I can't tell you how proud I am to be associated with this group of professionals. Every day, they come to City Hall with one goal: to make our city, their city, the best place to live and work in Kansas City. We're also pleased to be joined this afternoon by other public servants who are similarly committed to serving all of us. Today we have Commissioner Becky Fass and Commissioner Julie Brewer from our County Commission, and they adjourned early from their duties to come join us today. We're also extraordinarily pleased to welcome Dr. Gillian Chapman, the superintendent of Blue Valley Schools, as well as, I think, a quorum of their school board, which we may need to check to see if they've complied with the Open Meetings Act. So, Patty, I'll leave that to you. But again, we're really gratified that you all would take the time out of your busy days to spend it this afternoon with us. And last, I want to recognize the chairman of the Leawood Planning Commission, David Coleman, and members of our Planning Commission over here in the right-hand corner who are hard at work envisioning the future of Leawood. Thank you all for your service. You know, in 2026, we find ourselves at an important moment. We're preparing for two once-in-a-generation events in the same summer. America's 250th anniversary of the independence of our republic, and welcoming the world to Kansas City for the FIFA World Cup 2026. And while we prepare for these big moments, we continue to honor Leawood's legacy by making thoughtful investments that reflect our character and position us for the future. This year, I want to tell you the story of 2025 through the pillars adopted in our city's first ever strategic plan, which the governing body approved on June 2nd, 2025. Developed with input from city staff, residents, and the governing body, our 5-year strategic plan is built around 5 clear pillars: quality of life, finance and budgeting, infrastructure, community engagement and communication, and community and business development. These pillars reflect what our residents told us matters most, and they give us clear goals and timelines to guide how we invest, plan, and measure progress in the future of our city. Quality of life is at the heart of why people choose Leawood as a place to raise their families and make their livings. It is our parks and neighborhoods, our safety and security, and the everyday experiences residents have in our community that sets us apart. In 2025, our parks were front and center. We opened new and improved shelters at City Park, a community staple, celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. It was former Mayor Jean Weiss's recognition of an unmet need in our community and her vision and creativity that drove that dream of a public park into reality. Mayor Weiss is with us today, and I thank her for her vision and persistence that gave us the park we enjoy today. Mayor Weiss. This year, 50 years later, we also completed a new playground at Tomahawk Park, known to generations as Blue Park. The new modern play elements are a little more purple these days, and as a K-State alum, I'm personally fine with that choice of color, Chris. And this year, we will turn our attention to similar improvements to the playgrounds at Elon Park and Ironwoods Park, and I assure you, they will not all turn purple. But more important than any single facility are the experiences our parks make possible. Our parks, recreation, and arts team create daily opportunities for families to gather, kids to play and learn, neighbors to connect, and residents of all ages to stay active and engaged. Last year, the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Department served more than 19,000 people through nearly 650 events. That's 19,000 people in a city that only has 34,000 in their residents. So again, these moments are what turn great facilities into a true community asset. And we're grateful for Director Chris Claxton and her team who make these moments possible and continue to innovate programs as our community interests evolve. One thing we hear from our residents is how much trees matter to the quality of life and character of Leawood. Protecting our neighborhood's character was another of the commitments I made when I became mayor, and it continues to guide how we approach policy updates today. In June, the governing body updated our street tree ordinance to give clearer guidance and to support the long-term health of the tree canopy that makes Leawood so special. These new rules clarify responsibilities for street tree removal and replacement, improve spacing and placement standards, and reduce barriers for homeowners and HOAs. As part of this work, Public Works also launched a pilot sidewalk replacement program tied to qualifying tree replacements so residents are not left with damaged infrastructure from the replacement of their trees. These updates reflect our commitment to preserving our tree canopy while keeping our neighborhoods safe, accessible, and resilient. That same commitment carries into the work of our police department. Public safety remains one of the strongest pillars of Leawood's quality of life. In 2025, our police department responded to more than 28,000 calls for service, while major crimes dropped by 25% overall. Behind that headline number is a clear trend in the types of crimes residents worry about most: Burglaries dropped 19%. Assaults were down 20%. Auto theft was down 40%. And the most significant drop, auto burglaries were down 63% in 2025. These results reflect not only effective policing, but also a commitment by the men and women of our police department and by our community to develop a relationship that looks out for one another, reports concerns, and works together to keep our neighborhoods safe. As the way we move about our streets and sidewalks on foot, on bicycles and scooters, and by cars change, our approach to roadway safety is evolving as well. The governing body has enacted a number of initiatives to enhance pedestrian safety. With the growing presence of e-scooters and e-bikes, our police department took a proactive, education-first approach. Officers increased their visibility in the community and partnered with schools, youth organizations, faith communities, and neighborhood groups to help residents, especially young people and families, better understand the rules of the road. This focus on education reflects our belief that preventing harm is just as important as responding to it. That same philosophy guided recent policy decisions by the governing body. Earlier this year, we updated our helmet ordinance to require minors using electric and motorized devices, including e-bikes and scooters, to wear helmets. This change was not about enforcement for enforcement's sake. It was about recognizing that how people move is changing, and our responsibility to protect our most vulnerable users must change with it. We thank Police Chief Brad Robbins for bringing this proposal to the table last September, and our Bike Walk Committee and staff for advancing this important safety update for our community. In the midst of this work, our community experienced a heartbreaking loss with the passing of young Leawood resident Duke Omert. We continue to hold Duke's family and his friends in our hearts and our spirits. And I would ask that we just take a moment of silence in Duke's memory to remember his family. Thank you. This tragedy is a sobering reminder of why this work matters and why we must continue to examine opportunities to improve policy, education, and street design to prevent future loss. Alongside education and policy, we continue to make practical, on-the-ground safety improvements. In 2025, Public Works added new pedestrian crossings with flashing beacons at key locations, including along Lee Boulevard, and installed in-street yield-to-pedestrian signs to reinforce driver awareness. Crosswalks were restriped citywide with high visibility markings, and school zones crosswalks were refreshed ahead of the school year. Near Brookwood Elementary School, school zone beacons were relocated and extended to better protect students. Even as we move through the design and construction process for larger corridor safety improvements planned along 83rd and 103rd Streets, the city has not waited to act on incremental safety needs. Along 83rd Street, Public Works fixed sidewalks, trip hazards, and striped a buffer line between moving traffic and the sidewalk to create greater separation for people walking. These improvements make a real difference in day-to-day safety and comfort for residents who walk and bike along that corridor daily. Most recently, the governing body reduced the speed limit along Lee Boulevard to afford pedestrians and, most importantly, young pedestrians, a greater measure of safety. In addition, the governing body approved design changes to install a full stoplight at 103rd and Pawnee that will include an all-way vehicle stop to permit school children to cross the street safely as they come, and go to school. This is a great testament to the agility of David Lay and our Public Works Department to recognize the need for change midway through a project and to make the project better and our city safer. Just another example of the outstanding work that our Public Works Department does. And as I say, an amazing show of agility to not just be locked into a project that had already been approved, but to come back to us for additional funds for a much needed safety enhancement. Other traffic calming efforts include installing a speed table on 132nd Street and High Drive and adding additional warning signage and striping at high visibility intersections, including at 151st Street and Mission Road. Another important part of our public safety work is grounding our approach in trust, dignity, and understanding. The Blue Envelope program, launched this year by the Leawood Police and Fire Departments, was designed to better serve residents with intellectual or developmental disabilities or other special considerations. Through this voluntary program, families can request awareness decals for their home and use the Blue Envelope to share important information during traffic stops or emergency responses. These simple tools help first responders recognize communication needs, reduce confusion in stressful situations, and ensure respectful, supportive interactions. And when a crisis comes, it is our people who make a difference. This year, officers Josh Hayes, Cody Morris, and John McLaughlin received Bronze Awards for Valor for rescuing an elderly couple from a burning home. These officers arrived quickly, faced heavy smoke and active flames, and without hesitation carried both residents to safety. Both individuals in the home survived and are fully recovered. This is what our public safety teams do every day. Officers Morris and McLaughlin are here, and would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you both for your service and your courage. Our fire department, led by Chief Colin Fitzgerald, also delivered remarkable results. Firefighters reached record response volumes while reducing total fire loss, saving an estimated $6.8 million in property damage. But equally important to the protection of property, our fire department responds to the emergency medical needs of our residents. Last year, the fire department responded to nearly 2,500 calls for medical assistance. Thanks to you all for what you do to protect our residents. The team also welcomed new leadership, with Brittany Brown joining Leawood as Division Chief of Prevention and Fire Marshal. Her national level experience in fire investigation, prevention, and public education is already strengthening how we approach fire safety, code compliance, and community education. Ensuring prevention remains just as strong a focus as emergency responses. Brittany, can you stand and introduce yourself? There you are. And speaking of prevention, our fire and police departments led 2 tabletop emergency exercises, bringing staff together to practice coordinated response in realistic crises scenarios. That kind of preparation ensures that when the unexpected happens, our teams are ready to act quickly, communicate clearly, and protect our residents with confidence and precision. You know, none of this progress you are hearing about today happens without a strong, stable financial foundation. Leawood continues to demonstrate disciplined, responsible financial management. We have maintained a flat mill levy for more than 2 decades, and our mill levy remains the 4th lowest among Kansas cities of the first class. That stability provides residents with confidence and predictability for long-term planning. We also continue to maintain a AAA bond rating, the highest possible rating a city can receive, reflecting strong financial reserves, sound budgeting practices, and long-term fiscal stability. This year marked our first full year operating in a new, modernized financial software system. This system improves the transparency, accuracy, and long-term decision-making. I want to recognize Assistant Finance Director Jana Raper for her leadership in bringing this important work to life. Her work has made the work of the governing body so much easier to understand the financial implications of the decisions that we are making. Jana was also voted the Leawood Employee of the Year in 2025 for her great work and leadership. So we want to thank her for her excellent contributions. Jana, can you please stand? Jana has an amazing commitment to our city. She's a resident of our city, And no matter how late I might go home at night, and believe it or not, there are some nights when I go home at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, her light is almost always still on. I think she just watches to see when my light goes out so she can leave. But again, she has provided us an amazing leadership over the course of the last year. I also want to take a moment to recognize an important transition on our finance team. Don Cobby retired as our finance director late last year after a number of years of great service to us. And in just a few days, we will welcome Jeremy Wilmoth as Leawood's new director of finance. Jeremy has more than 25 years of experience in municipal finance leadership with service across multiple cities and counties in our region. He has led finance teams for the Mid-Continent Public Library System, the City of Lawrence, the City of Raytown, and Jackson County, and has held additional management roles in Cowley County and the City of Winfield. Jeremy, welcome to Leawood. Please stand. Earlier this week, he brought his first box of books into the office, and we look forward to him moving in the very near future. As Leawood continues to grow and invest, plan strong financial leadership ensures we remain disciplined and prepared for what lies ahead. It seems that the Kansas legislature is awfully inclined to intercede in the way that we pay for municipal services for our residents. We look forward, though, to the perspective and steady leadership Jeremy will bring to this important role in meeting these new challenges that we'll be faced with. Infrastructure is the backbone of quality of life. When our streets, sidewalks, and public facilities work well, daily life in Leawood works well too. Many of the quality of life improvements I mentioned earlier are made possible by the steady, thoughtful work of our Public Works team. This past year, the team managed the Tomahawk Creek Parkway reconstruction project on time and on budget. And I don't know how many people today have commented to me how relieved they are to have Tomahawk Creek Parkway back. With that project, we did more, though, than rebuild pavement and put in a traffic circle. We addressed long-standing drainage challenges along the corridor, expanded stormwater capacity, and designed the roadway to better handle more frequent and intense heavy rain events. These improvements help protect nearby homes, businesses, and the trail system along Indian Creek, of which we are so proud, while also improving mobility for drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. The team also continued neighborhood-level work through the Leawood South flood study along Winonga Lane. Some know it as Lake Winonga. These are practical, targeted investments that reduce risk for residents and help prepare Leawood for the future. Alongside these major projects, Public Works delivered behind-the-scenes work that keeps our infrastructure safe, functional, and reliable year-round. It may not always make headlines, but it is essential to how our city staff serves its community. And judging by the feedback we hear every winter, our snow team has earned a special place in the hearts of many residents. We're grateful for the leadership of Public Works Director David Lay and Superintendent Paul Dunn, and for the crews who show up day after day to keep Leawood moving safely forward. Thank you, guys. You know, a strong city is not just well-run, it's well-connected. Neighborhood engagement with HOAs became more consistent and intentional this year. Through our annual HOA conference and improved communication strategies, residents provided feedback directly on day-to-day issues that matter. That feedback directly shaped our work in developing our first strategic plan. We're continuing that commitment to partnership this spring, and I want to be the first to extend an early invitation to our neighborhood leaders to our HOA conference on Sunday, April 26th at 2:30 at the Lodge at Ironwoods Park. In 2025, we also expanded how we communicate with residents. This year, our communications team launched the Minutes Minute social media series and the city's new podcast, Leawood 360. These tools meet residents where they are, explain what is happening at city council meetings, and share vital information about city services and processes in more accessible ways. I encourage you all to take a few minutes out of the day to enjoy Beth Brittenstein's perspective on our city government. Beth has done a remarkable job of reinvigorating and reimagining communications for the city of Leawood. In 2025, our police and fire departments continued strong outreach, education, and prevention efforts across the community. The fire department hosted safety fairs and public education events throughout the year, including a large community fire safety demonstration in City Park led by Fire Marshal Brittany Brown. You should have seen that turkey explode. They also provided hands-on demonstrations, CPR, and first aid training to more than 800 residents, education events, tours, and more. At the same time, our police department expanded its outreach through community events, safety presentations, neighborhood meetings, and education. Together, these efforts, supported by proactive communication, ensure that public safety in Leawood is not only about response, but about relationships and community connection. Leawood's economic health remains strong, stable, and competitive. Last year, as many of you know, the Lockton Company selected Leawood as a future home of its world headquarters, bringing jobs, talent, and long-term investment to our community. Lockton is the world's largest privately owned insurance brokerage and the 9th largest overall. It is a highly respected Kansas City founded and based company that does business in more than 160 countries and employs more than 13,000 people worldwide, and has a long history of success, strong values, and a positive reputation in our region and beyond. Their continued growth is a point of pride not only for Leawood, but for our entire metropolitan area. Their decision to locate within the Hallbrook North development near College and State Line is especially meaningful. This area is envisioned as a high-quality, walkable, mixed-use district that brings together corporate space, housing, retail, green spaces, and trail connections, reflecting Leawood's approach to growth. It represents the kind of thoughtful, well-designed reinvestment that strengthens our tax base while aligning with our community's character and long-term vision. This project is being developed in partnership with Van Trust, another Kansas City-based developer with a strong track record of delivering high-quality, community-centered projects. We welcome Van Trust's partnership with the city and with Lockton, and we look forward to seeing this development take shape in a way that reflects Leawood's standards for design, connectivity, and quality. And I would be remiss if I didn't note that a number of the leadership, both of Lockton and of Van Trust, are Leawood residents as well. So they truly have skin in the game. Just as important, this investment will directly benefit our broader community. A portion of the funds generated through the development will be reinvested into one of Leawood's true community gems, the City Park. That means a major private investment will help strengthen a public space that serves families, kids, and neighbors from across the city. The Lockton project is a high-profile example of the broader momentum we are seeing across Leawood. Last year alone, more than 1,800 building permits were issued, representing nearly $192 million in investment across homes, businesses, and community facilities. We welcome new investments such as the opening of Leawood Village on State Line Road, alongside several new businesses that are bringing fresh energy to our commercial areas. We also saw continued corporate confidence in Leawood, including National Advisors Trust relocating its headquarters to Leawood. All of this with the able assistance and activities of the Leawood Chamber of Commerce, led by CEO Stephanie Meyer. And we thank the Chamber of Commerce for all that they do. We also made it easier to do business with the city itself with the launch of Access Leawood, our new online permitting and licensing platform. Homeowners, contractors, and business owners can now apply for permits and licenses, submit plans, and make payments in one place. This was a major cross-department effort led by our Building and Code Enforcement Director, Travis Torres, and it represents the kind of behind-the-scenes modernization that has a real day-to-day impact on the people we serve. And talk about day-to-day impact, let us not not forget that as part of this process, we eliminated the requirement for pet licenses in the city of Leawood. Growing Leawood is also about how and where we grow. Economic realities have evolved, and the time has come to reimagine our community as we continue to pivot from growing with distinction to living with distinction. This year, our Planning Services Department and our Planning Commission are leading a major update to our comprehensive land use plan, titled Leawood, Rooted and Reaching, a long-range vision to guide our community's growth and evolution over the next 20 to 25 years. This work reflects extensive public engagement, evolving market conditions, and a clear community vision for thoughtful reinvestment and neighborhood protection. Residents, city staff, and the governing body all collaborated to shape this plan through surveys, visioning workshops, open houses, and conversations at community events across the city, sharing what we value most about Leawood and where we see opportunity for the future. That input is already influencing how we think about land use, housing, transportation, and reinvestment across the city. This community-driven vision is guiding the next phase of modernizing our policies as the city turns its attention to updating the Leawood Development Ordinance. This update will align our regulation with today's Leawood and the future our residents have helped to define, making growth more predictable, higher quality, and better aligned with our values. Look for another Leawood Rooted and Reaching open house this summer. We thank our Planning Director, Julie Hurley, the planning staff, and the Planning Commission for their leadership in these efforts. As we bring this chapter to a close, we're already busy with all we have coming up this year and looking forward to the meaningful moments 2026 will bring to our community. Leawood will mark a once-in-a-generation moment as our nation celebrates America's 250th birthday. Independence Day has always been about more than fireworks. It's about shared history, shared values, and the ongoing work of building a nation and a community worthy of the ideals we celebrate. In Leawood, we will honor that milestone in a big way with an old-fashioned Independence Day parade down our newly reconstructed Tomahawk Creek Parkway, and a fireworks celebration worthy of this historic moment. It is our way of celebrating America, celebrating community, and bringing people together in a way that feels joyful, meaningful, and memorable. In December, we launched Leawood for the Goal, and you can see around you all kinds of glitz and glitter about Leawood for the Goal. It's our citywide brand and community initiative to prepare Leawood to welcome the world for the FIFA World Cup in 2026. What began as a kickoff effort has quickly grown into a shared source of excitement, pride, and connection across our community. Leawood for the Goal is about more than soccer. It's about bringing our residents and our people together and inviting the world to see the place that we all call home. Equally important is an opportunity for us all to celebrate what makes Leawood a great place to live, work, and gather. Through this initiative, we're preparing to welcome visitors and shine on a world stage. Leawood for the Goal reflects both our pride in this community and our readiness for what lies ahead. One highlight will be our community-wide 3-versus-3 soccer tournament at Leawood City Park on June 12 to 14, 2026. Alongside family-friendly activities and a festival atmosphere celebrating nearly 50 years of youth soccer in Leawood. We will also have community viewing parties so residents can experience the World Cup together right here at home. Leawood for the Goal is also about rolling up our sleeves together. We're inviting volunteer groups, neighborhood teams, and community organizations to help litter pickup and community cleanups across the city so Leawood looks its best when we welcome our visitors. You know, when you throw a party, you got to clean the house up first, and that's what we're going to be doing. In partnership with the Leawood Chamber, we launched a business readiness grant program to help local businesses prepare for increased visibility, foot traffic, and opportunities this world event will bring. I want to thank Council members Julie Kane, Lisa Harrison, Assistant City Administrator Stephen Powell, and Chamber President Stephanie Meyer, and the city staff who are bringing the Leawood for the Goal and the Independence Day Parade initiatives to life. Their work turned an idea into a citywide effort that reflects the energy, creativity, and pride of our community. This year, Leawood will also begin work on our Safe Streets and Roads for All action plan, a community-driven effort to comprehensively assess street safety across the city. This work will bring residents, boards, city staff, and neighboring communities together to identify high-risk areas, set long-term safety priorities, and guide future improvements for our people driving, walking, biking, and using mobility devices. Just as important, it positions Leawood to compete for future federal funding to turn good planning into real, on-the-ground safety projects. Safe streets are not a single project. They are a long-term commitment for our city. And I'll end with this. I'm proud to say the state of the city of Leawood is strong. It's strong because our finances are sound. It's strong because we are positioning our community for the next 25 years through thoughtful planning. And it is strong because we are modernizing our policies and programs to serve not just today's needs, but the generations that will follow. But most of all, Leawood is strong because of you, the people who have chosen Leawood to be the home for your businesses and your families. But none of this happens on its own. Leawood works because people care. Residents who show up, volunteers who serve, and staff who bring both expertise and heart to their work across every department. From the teams you see in the field to those working behind the scenes in IT, human resources, legal, and others. Their work may not always be visible, but it is foundational to everything we do as a city. And it works because of a governing body committed to thoughtful, practical progress. Together, we are not just managing a city, we are stewarding a place people are proud to call home. In a word, we are Leawood. Thank you all for the privilege of serving as your mayor.